Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. We're glad you're joining us today for another exciting episode of in-depth news and analysis. As we dive into the world of current events, we'll be exploring a range of topics that are shaping our global community. Today, we're starting with a significant story out of Hong Kong, where the high-profile trial of media mogul Jimmy Lai has entered its final stages. Lai, the founder of the now-defunct Apple Daily newspaper, is facing charges under Hong Kong's national security law for allegedly colluding with foreign forces to undermine China's authority. The case has drawn international attention, with many viewing it as a test of press freedom and judicial independence in the Asian financial hub. Lai's lawyers have argued that he was simply exercising his right to free speech, while prosecutors claim that he was secretly working to enlist foreign support for Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement. As we examine this complex issue, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives. On one hand, China has maintained that the national security law is necessary to maintain stability and protect its sovereignty. On the other hand, critics argue that the law is being used to silence dissenting voices and erode Hong Kong's autonomy. We'll be taking a closer look at the implications of this trial and what it might mean for the future of press freedom in Hong Kong. We'll also be exploring reactions from around the world, including statements from foreign governments and human rights organizations. As we navigate this intricate story, we'll strive to provide a balanced and nuanced view, avoiding sensationalism and bias. Our goal is to inform and educate, rather than to persuade or manipulate. So, let's dive deeper into this critical issue and explore its many facets. We'll be examining the historical context, the legal arguments, and the potential consequences of this trial. And, as always, we'll be seeking out diverse perspectives to ensure that our listeners have a comprehensive understanding of the topic. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're joining us again for this middle segment of our show. Today, we're focusing on a series of stories that highlight the ongoing challenges related to migration and maritime safety around the world. First, let's turn our attention to Nigeria, where a tragic boat accident has resulted in at least 40 people missing after a vessel capsized on a river in the northwestern part of the country. The incident occurred while the boat was transporting passengers to a market in Sokoto State. Authorities have managed to rescue 10 people so far, but search and rescue efforts are ongoing. This accident is unfortunately not an isolated event. Nigeria has seen several deadly boat mishaps recently, often due to overloaded and poorly maintained vessels. Moving to Europe, we see that the Greek island of Crete is experiencing a surge in migrant boat arrivals despite the country's harsher detention policy. Over 120 migrants were intercepted off the coast of Crete early Monday, with 2 boats believed to have departed from Libya. This comes after Greece suspended all asylum claims for migrants arriving by sea from North Africa last month in an effort to deter crossings that had peaked in July. It's also worth noting that Greece's conservative government is planning to introduce tougher detention rules, including mandatory imprisonment for migrants whose asylum claims are denied, and requiring ankle monitors during a compliance period before deportation. However, the government faces opposition from regional authorities in Crete over plans to build a permanent transit facility on the island. These stories highlight the complex and often heartbreaking issues surrounding migration and maritime safety. As we continue to follow these developments, it's essential to approach the topic with empathy and understanding, recognizing the human impact of these events. Stay tuned for our final story of the day right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I want to bring your attention to a pressing and complex issue that's been unfolding in the Middle East. The conflict between Israel and Palestine has escalated, with devastating consequences for civilians on both sides. According to recent reports, Amnesty International has accused Israel of deliberately starving Gaza's Palestinians, sparking widespread outrage and condemnation from human rights groups around the world. This allegation comes as tens of thousands of Israelis take to the streets to protest the ongoing war in Gaza, demanding a ceasefire and a resolution to the hostage crisis. Meanwhile, Egyptian-mediated talks between Israeli and Palestinian officials have yielded a new proposal for a ceasefire, which Hamas negotiators are currently considering. The plan reportedly includes the release of hostages held by Hamas and the easing of Israel's blockade on Gaza. It's essential to acknowledge that this conflict is multifaceted, with deep-rooted historical, cultural, and political tensions at play. As we strive to understand the complexities of this issue, it's crucial to approach the topic with empathy and nuance, recognizing the humanity and suffering of all individuals involved. As we conclude today's segment, I want to emphasize that finding a peaceful resolution to this conflict will require a concerted effort from all parties involved, as well as the international community. It's imperative that we prioritize diplomacy, dialogue, and cooperation to address the underlying issues driving this conflict. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.